We've all had that moment. You've been staring at that broken burner or dead engine for over an hour. Your knuckles are scraped up and your patience long gone. Then it clicks. The glow comes back. Or the engine finally hums to life. You step back, wipe your hands on a greasy rag, and you feel that swell in your chest. You look at the job and think, I did that. I'm the man who figured it out. We have been taught from a young age to take full ownership of our wins, but lately I've started to see that self-made mindset as a bit of a trap. I believe it's a form of vanity. We're taking credit for a result when we didn't even provide the ingredients. It's like the guy who turns the key thinking he's the one who owns the road. Just take a look at these wires, for instance. I didn't create the wires. I didn't make the copper that's in them or the plastic sheath. I certainly didn't create the laws of physics or design the law of physics on how the electricity flows through these wires that allow cars to be driven, airplanes to be flown, and for you to be able to use your phone. I'm just borrowing someone else's intelligence. Whoever designed these wires, whoever designed the copper or the aluminum that goes into them. So as the borrower, when my ego starts to get loud, I'm ignoring the fact that I'm just the final link in a very long chain. If the tool or the materials weren't designed just right, my skill wouldn't matter a bit. It would be like the pen trying to take credit for the poem, when in fact, it's just the delivery system. I'm using flux on this wired connection. It acts as a catalyst and cleans the wires and allows for the metal to make a clean bond. Now watch the technique. I'm applying heat from the bottom and solder from the top. Prior to that, I put a little bit of solder on the tip of the gun just to help transfer the heat better. When the wire gets hot enough, capillary action takes over and basically drinks the solder, pulling it right through the center of the joint. If I thought the design here didn't use enough heat or the proper technique, we wouldn't get as strong of a joint. Even this piece of heat shrink is incredibly well designed, shrinking with heat and protecting the joint within. My job isn't to force the result, it's to understand the physics and the laws that were already written to position myself in such a way to allow these principles to work. When you stop trying to be the boss of the physics and instead become a student of the design, that's where the connection works. We're looking at an infinite switch here. Most people just see a plastic housing with a knob in the front of it, but there's some terrific intricacies inside this switch. It's not a light switch, it's a regulator. I'm testing it with my multimeter. Inside of the housing, there's bimetal strips and an element that pulse power so that your stove burner doesn't stay on full blast all the time. This prevents damage to your stove and to your cookware. Somebody had to understand that two different metals expand at different rates to create a pulse that regulates high voltage electricity. I didn't create these different metals or write the laws on thermal expansion. I'm simply the borrower of the intelligence. When my meter shows the switch is working, I don't get to walk away feeling like a genius. Everything was designed to work like this long before I walked into the garage. I'm just the final link in the chain, doing my part, doing what I can to keep things running. So who built the builder? We take credit for our hard work, our talents, even our personality. But did you design your own brain? Did you choose your very DNA? If you didn't create the you that is doing the work, how can you ultimately take ownership of what you produce? It's like a hammer being impressed with itself or being heavy. It was built to be heavy. When we get stuck in vanity, we're essentially stealing credit from the designer. There's an old line. Unless the builder builds the house, the laborers work in vain. If the foundation of your very life wasn't given to you, you wouldn't even have a floor to stand on. Does this mean we shouldn't feel good about a job well done? Well, of course not. But it changes the flavor a little bit. Instead of, look at me, it becomes, well, look at what I was able to participate in. When you realize you didn't create yourself, self-importance starts to look, well, a little ridiculous. You stop trying to prove just how great you think you are, and you start just being the tool that's working the way it was intended. That's what the salted life is. That's what it's about. It's not about being the boss. It's about being useful. So go fix something today. But remember who gave you the ability to turn the wrench in the first place. So thanks for joining me, and stay salted.